Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into a really deep and honestly urgent question that's popping up now that AI is making more and more decisions in our lives. When something goes wrong, who or what is responsible? I mean, it seems like AI makes decisions, right? So when an autonomous car has an accident or a hiring algorithm shows bias, it's so easy, almost second nature, to just point the finger at the machine. But here's the thing. The real issue isn't whether guilt just vanishes into thin air. It's about figuring out where that guilt goes. Where does it move and where does it end up landing? So let's start with this feeling that I think we can all relate to. The sense that guilt is just hanging in the air. There's no one person or thing to pin it on. It's this weird discomfort, right? This feeling of having zero agency. We're stuck living with the consequences of choices that we feel like we never actually made in the first place. And this feeling, it creates this strange state of what you could call suspended responsibility. It's not that responsibility is gone, it's just floating. It's unclaimed. And what's really wild is what happens in this state of suspension. This huge ethical weight doesn't cause some big dramatic crisis. Instead, it just quietly weaves itself into the system. It becomes a kind of madness that just normalizes. Okay, but hold on. Calling it madness, doesn't that seem a little extreme? I mean, the whole thing feels so rational, so systemic. Why that word, specifically? Well, it's called madness because the way it's structured is so unique. It's not chaotic or frantic the way we usually think of madness. It actually hides in plain sight, perfectly disguised as just rational procedure. This is what some call transparent madness. It's this structure that pops up when a judgment that absolutely no one claims gets accepted as a totally rational outcome. So the madness isn't gone, it's just become invisible. And in a situation like that, what's the simplest thing to do? Of course, it's to point the finger at the most obvious, non-human part of the whole equation, the AI itself. And this right here, this is the real turning point in how we need to think about all this. Is the AI the actual cause, or is it just reflecting something else back at us? You know, blaming the AI, it's a really convenient story, isn't it? It's a narrative that gives us absolution. It frees us from that uncomfortable weight of our own responsibility. But the truth is, an AI can't absorb guilt. It's not an agent in that way. It's a mirror. And all it's doing is reflecting back the ethical weight that we as humans have failed to pick up. So if ethics isn't about finding some new thing to blame, and it's not just about following a set of old rules, where in the world do we find it now? This leads us to a really crucial shift in thinking. Maybe ethics isn't a destination that we're supposed to arrive at. Maybe it's a process, a constant recurring inquiry. We have to move away from thinking about ethics as this fixed point, a simple evaluation of right or wrong. We need to start seeing it as more of a gradient, a continuous process of questioning. It's not about the conclusion, it's about the orbit, not the destination, but the path. So ethics then becomes this act of recursive questioning. Its real value isn't in finding one final answer. It's in our capacity and our responsibility to keep asking the question over and over again. Ultimately, when we see AI as a mirror, it forces us to turn around and confront one final and maybe the most important question of all. When we look into that reflection, what is it exactly that we see we've handed over? Was it simple stuff? Did we just entrust it with our tasks, our labor? Or did we maybe go a step further and hand over our judgment? Or, and this is the big one, did we give away the one thing that can never, ever be delegated, our conscience? And so, the real takeaway here isn't an answer at all. It's a stance. It's the idea that the work of ethics is never, ever finished. It is the question that we have to be ready to receive every single time it's returned to us.